Beep, 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 beep. We got a video in here somewhere. Is this it? Show 30-second countdown. Intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
So keep the political commentary to yourself, or as someone once said, shut up and
Scribble.
So before we went live, JR joined the stream and my camera was pointed right here, except I wasn't wearing pants yet.
And I was looking really hard for it.
Good afternoon, brother. What's up?
What's up? You were saying something about large egos?
And small winkies.
No.
They go hand in hand. This is not the same. Oh yeah, it's a different. What was Austin's last name?
Stack?
No. The guy who won Crucible, Austin
Hatfield.
Sorry, Hartman looks really similar to that. So
We were talking about OG CrossFitters. That's why Austin Stack came to mind.
Yeah, we're talking about OG CrossFitters and an OG CrossFitter who I sent a bit of a tactical nuke of a comment at.
Sounds like just an average Thursday for you.
Probably unnecessarily. Okay, stop that. I don't go as hard as some of our friend group does, but sometimes
Sometimes the paint gets chopped up.
I chop the paint up a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Rogue
How you feeling after last week?
Next Thursday. I feel like I got hit by a truck still.
Really? Have you worked out?
The inevitable reality of two human beings that rely on me a lot still to survive hit me at about 6:30 Monday morning. And I realized that I still have to take care of them. I wish I could have just laid on the couch all day and slept and responded to DMs and reposted stuff. But alas, I took the kids to school, took one of the kids to the gym, started trying to put the pieces back together. But yeah, I've been like sleepwalking all week. It's been tough I've worked out every day, but I'm like slowly starting to sleep longer and longer each night because like I'm just coming down from the intense anxiety focus, whatever. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I set the tone Monday by absolutely clapping my butt cheeks. And I was probably the most sore I've been in like a year yesterday and Tuesday.
What was the workout? Give it to us.
I just did like a pretty nothing crazy wall ball bike erg workout, 35 cal bike erg, 50 wall ball, 35 cal bike erg, 50 wall ball, 35 cal bike erg, just like a little, chipper. And then I did our class workout, which was 2 rounds of 50 GHDs, 50 bodyweight deadlifts. And then I rested like about 1-to-1. And then at the 15-minute mark, I did that .com DT piece. That's like 95 pounder. 5 rounds, 24 deadlift,
double
power clean, 12 shoulder overhead, and some lifting and stuff and accessory in there. And my quads and hamstrings were just annihilated. Quads, I think, from that wall ball and then going really hard on that 50-50 piece. And then, it's quite the stimulant.
What was the first workout of those 3 again?
35 cal bike erg, 50 wall ball, 35 cal bike erg, 50 wall ball, 35 cal bike erg.
For the audience, Taylor knows that is not delineated as a chipper. He knows that. Okay, he said chipper. It's not really what he meant.
Whatever.
He knows that when you come back to a movement, it's technically not a chipper. Okay, guys, chill.
Where's that in the dictionary, though? That's what I find when we're talking about workout formats, like especially like a couplet, a triplet, a chipper. Like, because you could call a triplet a chipper, a little mini chipper.
Sure.
But
like Jackie, is Jackie a triplet or is it a chipper? I consider it a mini chipper, but it is 3 moves.
But it's both. I think that's such a weird thing where like I consider
we need James on here for this topic. Like if we just need to get into the minor nuances and some may say some semantics of programming.
Have they? Do you think they've ever gone into the weeds like this? Like debated this?
I don't know, but I bet James would like to come on and talk about stuff like that. Because like to me, when you say, and I say it all the time, if something is an up and back chipper, it's not a chipper. A chipper, by definition, to me, means you do a movement and then you don't come back to it again.
Okay, fuck nuts.
So-
What would you call
so
your
then-
first workout of 2020?
So then what do you call it? Exactly.
A
Like
chipper?
I would still call it an up and back chipper or like a pyramid chipper or whatever.
Pyramid
But
chipper,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's a cool conversation to have, because I think a lot of people, especially who are new in CrossFit and are really want to get like the methodology, they want to be able to like refer to workouts by that. They want to be able to say this is a classic couplet, or this is a interval triplet or whatever. You know, it's just cool to like get into the weeds on stuff like that.
You been doing any of Ben Smith's workouts?
I have not, but I've actually like saved several of them. I've been really impressed with his programming.
I did that.
Creativity standpoint,
Yeah.
and I really like to see the high level of difficulty. Is that
I
like
did.
that's
I
something
did.
I think people need to look at. Programmers in their gym, like Ben, we know people doing his classes are like he and probably Laura and like Emily B. Roth and like Matthias Porter, like people who have been kind of there.
Does he go there?
I think he was training there for a while. But like that's really cool. Like you program for people that are going to be challenged, that have won the CrossFit Games, like he and Laura.
Yeah.
And other people just scale down from that, which I think is really good.
I did that power clean dumbbell bench double under workout, and I'm like, I'm going to do it at 205. 185 is a little unnecessary. I didn't need to. I mean, it was still a great workout, and it wasn't real. I don't think it was that much slower. I just probably could have done touch and go at 185. Maybe even would have been a good idea, but I did not at 205. This is, first off, I don't believe that to the degree that they expressed it at all, that he does 85% of what's posted on .com. Because if he does, if that's true,
Who are you talking about?
Jeff Adler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, someone
Were you having a conversation in your head that we didn't know
Nicole
about?
Christensen.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just pulling the comment up. Nicole Christensen goes up there, spends a couple days, and goes, Jeff Adler does 85% of .com workouts. He does 3 on 1 off. He does the zone diet. I believe he does 3 on 1 off. I don't believe for 1 second that he does 85% of what's posted on .com, because if he does, then he's repeating a workout every 3-4 weeks even, which at his level is wildly unnecessary, maybe even detrimental.
I believe him.
I think we should have his coach on, his girlfriend.
I would love to, because I don't think Jeff said that, and I don't think his coach said that. I just
know that we talked to her last year. God, it's crazy. It's been a year since we talked to her at Rogue, and she was just awesome to talk to, and she really knows her stuff programming wise. I would think, would love to get as deep into the weeds as we wanted to as far as that kind of stuff goes. As much as I've enjoyed Ben's programming, the like one thing that I wish he would do, and I wonder if it was something he thought about doing, because it's not anything Main Site ever does, is to put like target times on stuff. Like, let's just say he's tested all the workouts he's put out for Main Site, and that dumbbell bench workout that he put out. Like if you would just put at the bottom, stimulus here should be sub 12 or whatever. And then maybe deep into the comments, I haven't read down on the emails that I get every day on stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't either.
But some people will just see it and be like, oh, Ben Smith wrote it. I can do this RX. I'm going to do it. It's going to be a grinder. It's not supposed to be a grinder. It's supposed to have a certain stimulus, and you should be shooting for a target time of like 10 to 12 minutes, something like that. I wonder why Main Site has never really done that. They've put intended stimulus before, but I mean like with specific time domains. Do you remember seeing that often?
I know when they do like little video blurbs, they talk about that a little bit. I find the time domains extremely helpful for our class goers. I give it to SMTP. I think it's a huge, like that's by and large how you can adjust a task priority workout to your capability and your capacity is the intended time domain. If I give my mom fucking RX Fran, it's going to take her 30 minutes to do it, but that's not the intent of Fran, but just saying 21-15-9 thrusters pulls. I don't know.
I think that's been the biggest thing that I've changed since going to CrossFit Charlotte is ever since I became strong enough to do RX, workouts, I would just do RX because I could lift the weight. But I didn't ever scale. I hardly ever scaled in probably a year and a half before coming across to Charlotte. Before then, I'm like, okay, this act like intensity and what is this actually trying to do for the first time, given the way that Taylor and Andy the coaches instruct and also write the workouts. So like, okay, that makes more sense. If I'm trying to hit this, then I know, okay, on this dumbbell workout, I should use 35s instead of 50s, even though in the past it's like 50s aren't crazy, but they'll stop me in the tracks if it's a lot of volume and it just ends up taking forever. So I think that's the biggest thing I've trained recently. To that note,
one of the other things I like that Ben has done is he's given options for rest day and not just made it a blanket state like rest day. Has to be a rest day. And some people may not like that because they may think it encourages people who probably need a day to do more because the option is there. Like today, I think it was handstand walk, L pull-ups, and maybe running, which is not a workout. And if you look at the format of that workout, it's not going to be a ton of volume. You add, I think, 25 feet to the handstand walk every round. It's 15 minutes. But for a lot of people, just a dedicated skill day like that, strict upper body pulling day, would be great. And it's not going to beat them up. And unless they're super sore from something else they've done earlier in the week, stuff like that could be a really viable option for people who maybe just want to move and practice some skills, but think that because they've trained hard for 3 days, they need to take a day off. What do you think about that?
I think they have to decide what they want to do with .com. Is .com a program for anyone, anywhere that can work out and they can go to .com and look at the workout and get an amazing workout? Or is .com the example and the dictionary definition of the CrossFit methodology of it's going to be 3 on 1 off. It's going to be 1 piece a day, prioritizing intensity over volume, always prioritizing minimum effective dose, et cetera, et cetera. I don't, it's like half the time I'm looking at .com, I'm like, are they really expecting people to fucking join arms and actually get behind this workout and do it and like have fun? Because I don't think anyone wants to do that workout, or nor are they going to. Or is this just the example of, hey, this is what CrossFit methodology is? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if I feel like with bringing these guest programmers in, they are for sure going the route of we want more people consuming these workouts, like doing them, rather than just looking at it and saying this is the methodology. Because I'm sorry, I'm not doing 5x5 fucking deadlift every 2 weeks.
I'm not going to lie. Like knowing that Dave wrote them, knowing that Boz wrote them, knowing that Ben has written them has made me pay attention to them a lot more, for sure. And I look at it every single day, but just like seeing the workout and thinking to myself, oh yeah, if I saw that workout, I could tell that would be a Boz workout. And likewise, some of the ones you see, you're like, that just looks like .com programming of old. It just looks like the same type thing. So far, Ben's workouts have been very much so unique to his style, which I think has been really cool.
I also like part of me cringes when people call that 3-day on period a cycle. Do you know what I mean? When they're like, well, for this 3-day cycle, I don't know. I'm just like, ooh, I guess it's a microcycle, but it's just so, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like there's too many options in terms of movement selection and modality selection to really look at a 3-day period and program 3-day periods individually. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have to look at a bigger picture to really have good variance. Me and Andy programmed for the gym today. I enjoy doing that. We're going to do an episode where me and JR go. Someone asked for this, where we're
going to do it. Yeah, we're going to do it.
One episode, part 1 will be JR programming for his affiliate and me being the assistant coach. And then part 2 will be me programming for my affiliate and him being the assistant coach, and just showing the process of how we go from nothing to something, which I think will be really cool and people will enjoy that. But today we're going to talk about some of the Charlotte Classic workouts, some about Rogue. I don't know if you have anything to pull up, Will. Do you have any graphics, or is that going to take you a second?
Let's pull up let's at least pull up the workouts that Charlotte Classic has released, and let's talk about those. Because I want to get into a little bit of the inspiration. not so much from like the book per se, but your creative process when you sit down to write a competition. Do you have like these workouts that you know are just like, this is firm, I'm not going to change it, the rest of the program needs to just be built around these couple workouts? Or do you really like to just have all 6 and the ability to tweak them all together? Where do you start?
It depends. I don't think I'm sold on one or the other. I think this year the first workout that I came up with was the interval workout that's been announced.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like a lot of several iterations to it. First iteration for Elite was the same format as RX, where it was 2 rounds of 8 bar muscle ups and 5 sandbag burpee get overs. But I know with the implement that they're using, like I did it with jerk blocks, which is harder than what they're going to use because you have to plant a foot on top of the jerk block. You have to plant the bag on top of the jerk block, then push it over. It's not just like a roll it over, whatever, etc. Then get over. And my time domains were pretty tight on the first 2 intervals to where like I knew probably more than half of the elite field would not have any time on the first 2 intervals. On the jerk blocks, maybe they'd have a short time frame on the implement that we're going to use. But then I was just like really in my head trying to figure out how to get that time down a little bit so that those first 2 intervals were still meaningful for the athletes that were going to win the workout. And I think going 13 and 13 was appropriate. Just less transition time. You know what I mean? You don't have those same 5 to 10 seconds each round of walking from the block to the pull-up bar, block to pull-up bar, etc., or to the bike erg. Then, so that workout came first, and that came not this one. The workout.
I'm about to commit a crime trying to make this computer work for this.
Oh,
and
what's that? What do you mean commit a crime?
Oh, you know what that means? Get out a knife, commit a crime on myself.
Oh,
something I know you were really firm about though was the time domain interval scheme. You were very hard about that. Like that was really important to you. And why? Why were those numbers important?
Well, that number was important to me because it came from the book, but also it was an interval that once I did it was like it just is like 2 2 2 3 intervals is painful. I felt like this interval was a little more painful. And I'm very partial to workouts that stress the psychological tolerance of athletes in terms of how hard you want to push and how much you're willing to really go for it. I really like that. And I think it's something that people have never done before. Like a lot of people have never done anything like this, where you have such a long interval with short rest in a competition, and then you finish with a 5-minute interval. Is like there's a lot of time there to see who's really going to push hard.
And I know when I tested it, I was in the gym by myself, but I had your scores. And as a competitor, you're going to be out there with 5 or 6 or 7 other lanes. Everyone's finishing 2 minutes on the bike and just looking around like I have no clue where anyone is. So you have no choice but to like truly empty it.
Yeah. And I think for my competition, I rely less on spectator experience and more, and this is not to say that you don't rely more on athlete experience, but I care more about the feel of the workout. More so than I do about, okay, are all the spectators going to be able to see who's in first place in this workout, etc. So that was the one I came up with first. I think in years past, there have been workouts that I've been really, really set on and like building around it. This year, I knew that I wanted this workout and an offsite workout. And then I knew that I wanted a handful of movements that I programmed in other workouts. And aside from that, it was kind of like a blank slate. Like I knew I wanted what is in our finale, which hasn't been announced. I knew I wanted L-sits, and that came from a workout that me and you talked about a long time ago, that 60-second L-sit, 30 snatch, or was it 15 power snatch, 15?
That sounds right. Yeah, it was like
clean and jerk. Can't remember. Unbroken designation.
Well, something
finishing with the bike.
Even earlier, though, when we were talking about semifinals in the games, you and I were both pretty firm that we thought the LSIT was going to return. And we were kind of wondering, based on the things that Boz had said, about thinking there's going to be some things in the workout that some people really want to do and some people really don't want to do. And it was like, what if they did something where it was like, you know, you had a buy-in of an LSIT into a max lift, and it would be like, hey, the really strong people that don't have that midline integrity just aren't going to be able to keep lifting. And we were trying to come up with, and you know, obviously it ended up being the max snatch into the basically max effort run, and that being something that a lot of people probably don't want to do after they snatch heavy. But yeah, I'm so glad you put the LSIT in. I think it's really cool. You would see it back in the day, maybe like 2011, 12 or 13, but it would usually be like part of some floater or some skills thing. But the fact that you're putting it in a workout, and putting it in a workout that's like really creative and is not going to decide who does well, is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to highlight who is good at them and who has really good static strength in that trunk flexion position. So I wanted those, and then I wanted ring dips on the high rings. I've wanted to put ring dips in a competition for like a couple years, and like I just couldn't figure out what I was comfortable with standards wise, because I knew there was like not a real way for me to replicate that regional standard with the red strap. And then semifinals posted the complex, and I was like, fuck it. I'll just put them on the high rings and make sure that their top of their shoulder touches the ring at the bottom. And then at the top, they reach full extension of the elbow, obviously.
Yeah, and I think is there something about the hip has to move up and down, or is that the hip can't come like above the bottom of the ring? There was some standard about the hip position. I don't know if it was that it had to move vertically
in
or
line
that
with
it
the shoulder.
Right. But either way, I mean, it seemed to work out great. So yeah, I don't think a standard is going to be an issue here.
No. So this workout, I knew I had the bones, the structure of this one for a while, and I was kind of just on the fence about what order of the squats, what weight on the squats, and then had Hunter test it, and she did it really fast at a particular weight. So I made it a little bit heavier. I think it'll still be a relatively fast workout.
Are all these bars going to be from the floor, and are they going to be stripping weight, or are they going to be
No. It'll be
bars?
3 different barbells from the floor, and it'll be laid out. Like if you can see the gym back here, like they'll start all the way towards the back where those GHDs are, and they'll do 15 back squats, and they'll come forward, and their parallettes will be in the middle, and they'll do their 60-second LSIT, and they'll come forward. They'll do their 15 front squats. They'll come forward to the rings that she's on. They'll do the 30 ring dips, and they'll finish just beyond the rings and do their 15 overhead squats. And that'll be cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great finish. There'll be some good races, and then there's gonna be some people that are just way behind. And I think a lot of it's gonna be because of the gymnastics movements, which is why I think it's such a cool blend, because everyone wants to play with the weight and throw it around, but not everybody can stay up on the rings for 1 or 2 sets. And they're, you know, every time you come off, that's just another muscle up you have to do. So
yeah, I think, oh wow, Dallin Pepper liked this workout. I think more than anything at those weights, it's going to be who is strong enough to go unbroken while still being able to finish the LSIT in 2-3 sets at most for the winners. And then the ring dips, I think, you're going to need to finish them in 2 sets and then go unbroken on the last set of overhead squats. But I think it's a cool workout as well.
what's your standard for the LSIT?
They're going to have their heels over an elevated target. And aside from their heels can't touch the target and they have to stay over the target, that's the only standard. And obviously they cannot rest, like they can't squeeze the parallettes so tight that like they're basically sitting on their hands for support. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like your wrist can't touch your legs, but there's no like knee bend standard. Aside from your feet have to stay over the parallettes.
Sure. Yeah. The less is more type thing when it comes to the standards on that. Cool. What else has come out?
And then the 6th workout.
And I would say, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the intervals, the offsite, and this. So these are the 3, like, if you're fit enough, especially on something like this, if you have enough upper body pulling stamina and pushing stamina, are going to hurt really, really bad. like those 3. And then the rest of them are probably limited by something else. I mean, you did this one. You told me about it when you did it. And I was like, dude, that is awful. Like
It was too much. I had to shorten it.
I remember. The switching back and forth between chest to bar and toes to bar. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. What made you want to do that in this workout?
I needed more, like I wanted more trunk flexion. Like else it's just not enough. I didn't want to do GHDs this year. And I also needed some upper body pulling in addition to the bar muscle up. The bar muscle up, I just feel is like so not necessarily pure upper body pulling. Like it's a lot of press too. And I just thought it was a cool concept. I was like, I played back and forth between chest to bar and a thruster here. RX got the thruster version because the Elite has some more squatting elsewhere that RX doesn't have. Yeah, I've seen this format in other places, so it's not like I'm the first one to coin it. But I just like the fact of going back and forth, and I think starting and finishing with the toes to bar is a little bit easier than starting and finishing with the chest to bar, in my opinion. I think you're more likely to get right to toes to bar and go. Like it's not as much of a high heart rate. Like you can keep your heart rate lower on a toes to bar, in my opinion. Whereas if you jump up for 22 chest to bar, your heart rate's going to spike.
Yeah, dude, I would say it's almost 2 to 1. Like it's close cycle rate. Like if you get up and do 30 chest to bar to 30 toes to bar, it's going to be close to 2 to 1.
Yeah,
speed wise.
And I just think the chest to bar like really blow you up heart rate wise. Whereas the toes to bar, if I'm fucking hurting, it doesn't like there's not a point to where there's not a level of hurt for me that is so bad that I can't jump up and do a couple toes to bar. But if I'm hurting that bad, I'm going to wait longer to jump up for the chest to bar. So I wanted to finish on the toes to bar to give athletes something they could get right to and race a bit more on. And then some moderate barbell overhead. And I think 55 reps is pretty substantial there with the 165 bar. It's good. And it just really, it will come down to gymnastics capacity and like how good you are on a barbell, but also like that's a substantial amount of rowing. And if you're a bad rower or if you're bad on machines or if you have bad general metabolic conditioning, you're not going to do well in this workout at all.
Yeah. And this is one that like I look at and the time domain is tough to figure out until you do it. Because some people, it's going to hit them on round 3. Some people are going to be able to hold on and they're going to be like, hey, how hard I can row is going to be what determines my time on this. What do you think good times are going to be here?
I don't think how hard you can row. That's not the entire workout. At least not how I felt it.
No, I mean like on like the last round or 2. Are you going to be able to actually maintain your row pace, or is it just going to become a recovery for some people?
No, for a lot of people in this field, for sure going to become a recovery, but the best should be pulling probably pretty consistent the entire time. I don't think it's going to get to a point to where that last round is like a wicked hard push. I think the people who pace this workout the best are going to be hurting to their capacity, trying to hold what they opened up with on the rower. And that probably for the best guys is I would be shocked if it's over 1,400 for all 5 rounds.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. Well, so do you think like holding 3 minute, like holding
a 3-minute round would be
average of 3-minute rounds is going to be a pretty good score? That's kind of what I was thinking.
I think that'll be a very good score.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense too. And I think you can do that even with like a strategic break on the toes to bar or the toes to bar, chest to bar, and just being able to do the 11 unbroken every time. It's cool. I think there's a lot of volume here, but I think there's a lot of area for people to separate. I think there's going to be like a lot of people that come out way too hot as usual. And then there are going to be some people that kind of slow play it a little bit. And they know that, breaking early might be the way to go. And then on that last round, if they can hold on for unbroken, that's the play. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you mentioned the offsite, the interval in this workout as the ones that hurt the most, because I also believe those 3 workouts are the most likely places where people are going to go out hot, and the most likely places where if you do that, you're fucked. Absolutely blasted if you go out hot on those 3 workouts.
Why didn't you want to do GHDs?
I just have done them 2 years in a row, and like we just got one new Rogue GHD, and I'm like, we have these like Pro Max GHDs like made by this company in Texas, which are like we've had them for like 10 years. So as durable of a GHD you could possibly buy outside of a Rogue.
You can't adjust the leg rollers, but besides that, they're great.
I'm just right. It's really hard. Like exactly. I just don't want to use them. So maybe we'll get Rogue.
No, I think
GHDs.
like just that point that you let off with though, and I'm finding myself doing this because next year will be the 5th year. I have tendencies, I have bias, I have movements that I've programmed every single year. And I also have movements, and you have movements that are kind of like staples for your competitions, or they just fit really well with your layout, like that outdoor run. You guys have that parking lot. It's like a perfect rectangle. You have a place that you can do out and back for like shuttle runs or sleds. So there are things from a programming standpoint, and we're not limited. We're not just like, oh yeah, different venue every single year. We can go off the landscape. There are going to be things that I know for me for next year, like I cannot program because they're going to be way too predictable moving forward. Like if there's always pegboard, then there's nothing, like it doesn't add anything. There's no level of like, well, I don't know, is it going to be rope climb? Is it going to be pegboard? Is it going to be hand over hand sled? So like I think your point just about, I've done GHD every year, like that's something good for people to take note of, is that just because you have it doesn't mean you have to use it.
Yeah, each year I hope to put something in like the competition that not a lot of people do a lot of, or use, or like something that kind of surprises them, or a movement that's like, damn, I have access to this, but I don't ever do it this way. Why? Like the first year we had I can't remember how that went down. I think either you had the idea or we did a workout together with the ballistic block with that run. And I knew like right when I did it, I was like, man, I'd have to use this.
Where we ran for a mile and I ran for 400 meters and you ran for 1,200 with it. Yeah. Like that's not an exaggeration, guys. Like I have not been a coward very often in my life on workouts. And I just remember on that workout, I wanted none of it, wanted none of the discomfort. And like, it was at the end of a workout that I'd already pushed pretty hard to stay with Taylor on. And then I was just like, hey, like, that's fine. No ego. You're going to be able to carry it. And like me running with you carrying a 70-pound ballistic block is going to be pretty comparable. So
that thing hurt.
Yeah. I was going to use it for the Belton run, but you had this idea to use it in that GHD row workout that I actually like even more. So I was like, hey, I'll just use the feed bags, and you use the blocks. And it was awesome because it was raining too. And it just made that workout way more gritty.
Yeah. So like that, last year we had like the jerry cans, like we had these military jerry cans filled with like wet sand. They were like 90 pounds for farmer's carry, and they just looked cool as fuck.
So cool.
And like
the Go Ruck bag.
And the Go Ruck. It was like a little military workout with like med ball GHD sit-ups and a Go Ruck like squat, handstand walk. It was awesome. And then this year there's the L-sit, which people train, but again in this format it's a little bit different. And then the interval format, like that interval time domain, is something that like not a lot of people have done. I'd venture to say maybe even no one has done until seeing it, which is cool. Maybe I'll be corrected on that. And then a couple other things that'll come out that I know for a fact that people don't train a lot of and are going to have some trouble with.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and we got like 10 more minutes to talk about Rogue, but
oh my God, let's pull Rogue up.
It was kind of a good segue. You had mentioned that workout with the jerry cans and the Go Rucks bags, but then what did it have with it? It had handstand walk. It had med ball GHD. So to me, this is a really cool like way to start talking about Rogue and what we assume is going to be. You just described a workout that sounded very Rogue until you got to the handstand walk. They've never programmed it in an in-person competition, that movement.
Which is crazy.
Are we going to get that this year? Are we going to get maybe like a wall walk variation? like we had the wall facing handstand push-ups. Wall walks are like a really, really good grinder. If you haven't done them with a vest or a ruck, they work fine with that, like to make them weighted. Yeah, I mean, what do we think about Rogue? What do you think's coming? We've gotten a little some teasers here and there with that strongman dumbbell and kind of the size of it compared to a regular 50-pound dumbbell that Katie posted. I think there was a picture posted with the log, that the log bar is coming back. We can talk about maybe what we think that's going to be. So yeah, I mean, let's start like long and hard, like endurance. There's usually something like that. Last year they did that run on the ranch. Are you thinking there's going to be a workout like that offsite, or do you think everything's just going to be at Del Diamond?
Can you pull up their Instagram, Will, with us on the side? I see you clicking through it over there.
Yeah, I mean, which one? What do you want?
Just pull that Instagram up. I want you to pull that picture of the bull up.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, of the bull sled?
I think they're going to put fucking Jason sitting right down on one horn and then another athlete sitting right on that other horn. And they're going to play seesaw. Dude, that is sick.
Yeah.
Look at the welds on that thing. Make me fully
Tight welds.
wet. Dude, I love a good weld. A nice.
I love welding.
Dude, it's so.
I might buy a welder just for my backyard.
Don't see
hurt
anything.
yourself.
Do you
I know how to weld.
Do you have it up on your screen, Will? I don't see anything.
Yeah. Oh, do you see it, Taylor?
I see it. What are you talking about? It's in the middle of our.
I've got nothing on my end, but our silhouettes of mustaches and eyebrows.
Really? That's odd. How about now?
Nope.
Well,
Wow. That's
picture
weird.
this, JR. There's a big iron
Okay.
bull
All
with juicy horns, amazing welds,
Got it.
shaping a beautiful geometry of a
Oh, wow.
precious Texas cow.
The comment section doesn't see it either.
Taylor, what do you think they're going to use the log bar for this year? Last year it was
She posted it, right?
Yeah, she posted. I mean, they posted a picture of it.
Do you
think it's
still
gonna?
see it?
Do you think it's going to be used for a hanging gymnastics movement? I can see it now. Like last year they did for bar muscle ups. Do you think they're going to use it for something hanging, or do you think it might just be lowered on the rig to be used for something else?
Man, I hope they use it for toes to bar.
I kind of think they might bring the mule back, and they'll do like
Burpee
something. Could be like a burpee pull up, could be a burpee chest to bar pull up. I think if they kept the theme of like having something really grip intensive, maybe they could do a axle bar deadlift or like kettlebell deadlift, and it would just be another iteration of that 21-15-9 workout.
I hope they don't do another iteration of that. I hope it's different, because I think if you do one thing too many times, I'm just like, they've already done the mule twice.
Yeah, and I know a couple years ago they did like some over-unders, right, with a log. I think it would be cool if they did, maybe they had it kind of low, like a 30-inch, like think Happy Star, and they did like burpee get-overs over the log like that, where it was low enough to where you could really keep the speed, and it wouldn't be really dependent upon, how tall you are to be able to do a get-over on a really high one. At the games, we saw the logs for like, get over and then put the sandbag over. I'm with you though. I kind of hope that it is as a gymnastics element.
I would be willing to bet it's a toe to bar, or like you said, a burpee pull up, burpee chest to bar. I have a hard time seeing them lowering that and using that thin log as something to get over. Like I would imagine, like in Happy Star, it's quite a bit thicker, right? And that over under log is quite a bit thicker.
Yeah.
Like that's probably a 4-inch diameter or 3.5-inch diameter. I believe Happy Star and that over under workout were like an 8 or a 10-inch, like utility pole diameter.
Yeah, I think Happy Star was just basically like a Monster Light rig, but it was like a beige color. Like it was just like
it wasn't even a log.
Right. It was just like it was just like an attachment, like an upright kind of. Yeah, or they could just do bar muscle ups again, because everybody's, did them last year. So I hope they have the hill. Like I would be disappointed if the hill wasn't in there. I feel like that's a staple of Rogue now, and it's something super unique, and it adds a stimulus. There's so much you can do with it. They did that turtle hand over hand pull up the hill last year, and we talked about like could you get some feed bags and tell them they have to reverse, like backpedal up the hill, dragging something like dragging a person like a dummy in front of them? That would be really cool to see. If they ran to the
hill,
sure. If they ran to the top of the hill and did something up there, like they got up there and then they squatted or did burpees or did thrusts, something like that, and then ran back down the hill. And it's not just like a run up and then run right back down.
Could you see them changing the surface of the hill into a stair?
That would be so cool, dude.
Do you think they'd be reluctant to do that for safety?
I think it would depend on how deep each step is. Like if someone took a step backwards, are they immediately going to have to,
But that would be so fucking cool, wouldn't it?
I just think it would be
Stairs?
really cool.
That'd be awesome.
I thought about this too. From like where the lanes start, I guess it's probably somewhere in between the pitcher's mound and home plate, maybe. I can't remember the dimensions.
I think it's right.
Field.
I think it's right at the pitcher's mound.
Like that distance, like
right.
there to the hill. Do you think I'm pretty sure Katie's a pretty avid biker. Do you think they would do like a bike repeater style workout where they got bikes out there and like biked on the field?
I don't think they'd bike just because of them using them at the games this year.
Just not biking at all.
Yeah, I don't see them using a cycle, like a bicycle. Maybe.
What about Echo? You think Echo's still there?
I could for sure see an Echo. I could. Oh man, how many times has a bike erg been used in?
So a bike erg has never, ever been used in individual CrossFit Games competition. Not one.
Right. And I think the only other events relevant to use it are Dubai. They've used it for age groups, and they've used it maybe for teams. Right. Oh yeah, I mean some other competitions have definitely used them. Just haven't seen them at CrossFit Games competitions. And a lot of people, Rogue doesn't shy away from monostructural. Like a lot of people think of Rogue as being just a really heavy, robust test with more of a weightlifting feel. But like they did ski and Echo last year. They ran twice. They did the long run on Thursday, and then they did the run with the goblet, squat, and the muscle up. Like they don't shy away at all from monostructural stuff. I think the first year, maybe when like Berman was there, do you remember that chipper with rowing, wall balls? I think it had kettlebell lunges, box jump overs. That's the last time I remember them rowing at Rogue. But didn't they row one year here at Del Diamond? The first year they had Del Diamond, they did a row workout in BKG. It had like handstand push-ups. And the chipper that had the jerry can, maybe. Yeah. And the gymnastics was like strict handstand push-up, ring muscle up. Yep. So I mean, yeah, they've used ski, they've used the row, they've used Echo bike. I think it would be cool if they put the bike erg in there, especially if it was like to me, when I think of Rogue, I think the dual. Like I just think of that elimination style format, which is really cool. They did it one year with the drag rope, squat snatch, and the sandbag to the pedestal. And then last year they did it with the legless rope climb, overhead squat, the sandbag carry. I think when you put like a bike erg in that setting where you just have to make people sprint at the very beginning of some kind of 1 minute interval, that just makes it nasty. Dubai did that too, though. Didn't they do that with the overhead squat workout? It was like maybe handstand walk and overhead squat, maybe. Yeah. So I agree. I like that. I hope they use the D ball as well this year. I just love the D ball. You don't see that come up as much. Like whether they I think as they did the online qualifier had sandbag over the shoulder with dumbbell step over. I think it'd be really cool to see the return of the year they did the online Rogue when they did the D ball step over. That's just a gnarly movement. And or squat clean. The squat clean. That would be awesome. So yeah, and we're like right at a week out, and I haven't seen anything. So. Do we have a roster you can pull up at all?
Probably Barbell Spin probably has one.
Yeah, Barbell Spin. So the latest edition, Shelby Neal is in the field, which is pretty cool that she got in. Not sure who is out because of that edition, but it's cool to see someone locally that we know kind of break into that echelon of super high status. I mean, this is the most prestigious competition to go to for sure.
Isn't that interesting how Rogue Invitational is considered more prestigious than the games?
Yeah, it's like you gotta go to the games to perform to even get there. So, all right, guys, I gotta pick up Lilia from school. I'm just gonna listen in the car. Keep going.
All right, we'll run through this roster real quick and then
All right, cool.
jump off. Wow. Okay, so gosh, look at that men's field. Ricky Garrard,
Crazy.
Travis Mayer, meh. Hopper, BKG, Gele Hoste, Lazar Jukic. Wow, Jeff, Pat, Roman, Brent. Goodness gracious. That's going to be insane.
Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler, Noah, Dallin, Yana.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
dude, there's
crazy.
really, it's like pick a top 10. Jeff, Pat, Roman, Brent, Noah, Dallin, Yana, Chandler, Jay, Lazar, Yella, BKG, Bailey Martin, Jason Hopper, Travis Mayer, Ricky Garrard. Like you can't pick a top 10. You could pick a top 17. Oh man, it's nuts. The men's field is crazy stacked.
Yeah.
The ladies, not quite so deep, but the star power of Tia Toomey and Laura going head to head. Gotta imagine that's going to be quite the battle. Alex
Kind of carries the show.
Who carries the show?
The Laura versus Tia.
Yeah, Laura
Like,
versus Tia battle.
That's such a big matchup that it doesn't really matter. Well, it matters, but as far as the storyline.
But the other thing is, dude, Emma Lawson, Emma
Yeah.
Carey, Ariel Lowen, Alex Kazan, Alexis Raptis, those ladies also
Alexis
coming
pulled
off.
out.
Alexis Raptis did pull out?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of her colitis.
Oh, didn't know. What's that?
It's like I think it's a like stomach autoimmune disease. And I think she just had a huge flare up and couldn't train or eat for a long time. And so she decided not to do it. But yeah, it would be funny if everyone talks about Laura, Tia, and then someone else middles or has a show.
Cave, I can do whatever the fuck I want, asshole. Okay, so Katrin pulled out.
Yeah.
Do we know why that happened?
I don't remember. I don't know if we know or I don't know.
That's crazy. Okay, Bethany Flores. So her back must be feeling like way better, which is great. Awesome for her. Interesting. And we now know that Shelby Neal is in and that one other person is out. So is that Alexis Raptis that is out and Shelby Neal's in? Who's in place of?
I don't know who's in place of Alexis.
Okay.
But then someone else is out and Shelby's in.
Crazy.
Catch all the live action next week on the Sevan Podcast.
Are they going to be jocking that stream?
Oh yeah. Not. What do you mean jacking?
Like, I mean, like, is Rogue going to allow them to jock the stream and commentate over it, or are they just going to do recaps?
I don't think they asked. So I don't know if Rogue's not allowing it, but I think they're just doing. I think they're just going to do previews and recaps probably. You going to do them?
Previews and recaps.
Are you going to watch the Rogue?
Maybe. My plan was to do every workout they announced in my own gym and beat everyone's times and then call everybody cunts on Instagram. Like,
really?
Kiefer was at the gym Monday and he was like, you should 100% do that. It would be so funny.
Honestly, I kind of like that.
Huh?
I kind of like it.
It would
and then you just randomly don't post the workouts that you can't do or we don't have the ability to do.
Exactly. Just one workout.
I would have won, and it's just like two of the workouts.
Just me doing one.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's hilarious.
Should do that.
Just use women's bars. Fake weights. Yeah, I would need to do that. Well, cool. Good episode.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bye-bye. Got anything else? Sign up for Self-Made Training Program, 14-day free trial. If you want 60-minute track, we got you. You trying to compete? You got aspirations? you didn't win anything as a high schooler in sports and you want to have a go at qualifying to sports as an adult, strap into that compete program.